This is Topic 1, Lesson 3, Developing Complex Cultures. You will need to have your digital notebook open. Again, please open your Lesson 3 digital notebook. It's just like I have here on the left side of my screen. You should have yours open. Thank you. Let's go ahead and start with the lesson.
Lesson 3. Developing Complex Cultures. Over millions of years, many groups of early humans appeared and then died out. Homo sapiens, or modern humans, were the last of these groups to appear. As you will read, scientists still have much to learn about the development of the first modern humans. But one fact is clear. These large-brained, wise people were often on the move. Over many thousands of years, they spread out to populate, or become inhabitants of, almost every land area of the world.
All right, let's go ahead and watch this video. This is the Lesson 3 video.
Imagine that you have always lived in a cold, snowy climate. This has been true for as long as anyone can remember. Then, gradually, the climate starts to get warmer. Glaciers shrink and melt. Ocean levels rise. Many plants and animals can adapt quickly, but others cannot and gradually die out. This is no longer the land your people have always known. That is what humans faced as the last ice age ended about 10,000 years ago. Plants flourished. Some trees now grew farther north to areas that had once been covered with ice and snow. But many species of large animals, like the mammoth and ground sloth, died out as the ice age ended. Now humans needed to find something else to hunt and eat. But how? Remember, most people were still hunter-gatherers. Now some turned to fishing or found smaller animals to hunt. But others looked for new ideas and new ways to live in this new and different environment. The changes they made were so great that this period is called an agricultural revolution. How might this revolution have gotten started? Among hunter-gatherers, women had always collected fruits, seeds, and other food from plants. When they returned to the same place the next year, they noticed that where they had scattered seeds, new plants had grown. So they began to deliberately plant those seeds and cultivate the young plants. People also found other ways to change their surroundings so they would provide more food. Sometimes people set fires to clear land for homes and farmland. When grasses grew back on the burnt land, animals like deer often came to graze. Also, sometimes edible grasses and grains sprang up there. Some of those early changes were just lucky accidents. But then people began to deliberately change plants and even animals to make them more useful and easier to depend on. They picked the grains and grasses that grew best, like wheat or rice or maize, and carefully tended them so they would give better harvests. They picked the plants that gave the biggest yields or the sweetest fruit, and carefully tended them. They dug canals to bring water to the fields or control floods. They even flooded entire fields for water-loving plants like rice. Over time, they made new tools like sickles to cut grain or special stones to grind it into flour. Some early farmers tamed or domesticated animals that had once roamed wild. Some domesticated animals, like oxen and horses and cows, lived and worked on farms. Animals pulled loads or carried people on their backs. Others provided meat and milk and hides for the family. Some, like sheep, goats, and llamas, also provided wool for clothing. And at some point in human history, a few kinds of wild wolves developed into dogs, which gradually became companions to early humans. Many places, though, were too dry or too rocky to make good farmland. Many people there didn't settle down to grow crops, but still lived as herders. These families traveled with the seasons and the times when the rains came. They moved with their flocks of goats or sheep to where the grasslands were richer or the water supply was better. This way of life would go on for thousands of years, well into modern times. Would you have chosen to be a farmer or a herder? Why?
All right, let's go ahead and go back to split screen here. All right, let's look at our vocab words. I need you to define your vocab words on pages 1 and 2 of your digital notebook. We have, and you should have already done this once, remember, open that purple PowerPoint and just copy and paste these definitions. Populate, to become an inhabitant of a place. Animism, belief that the natural world is full of spirits. Domesticate, change the growth of plants or behavior of animals in ways that are useful for humans. Revolution, a complete change in ways of thinking, working, or living. And lastly, nomad, person who moves from place to place without a permanent home. Again, pause my video. Get these 5 vocab words defined. You can and should use the PowerPoint and just copy and paste the definitions from the PowerPoint.